Bula Vinaka and a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind. I'm Louise Kaunisela. WOW's Kids Fiji, a non-profit organization, supports children with cancer and their families. I have three guests today. In the first two segments, however, of the show, we have the from the Pediatric Department Oncology Unit, CWM. This is, of course, Dr. Save Sendundua. So you'll be joining us for the first two segments, and I thank you so much for taking the time out to be here today. Welcome to Speak Your Mind, Dr. Save.
Thank you very much, Louise. It's really nice to be here today. And thank you for having me, though.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. So we'll go straight into it. Now, can you tell us briefly how, when, and why did WOW's Kids Fiji start?
Well, Louise, so WOW's started in 2009. And this organization started based on a dream of a young girl who also went through cancer and had died in 2008. And based on her dream, WOW's was birthed, and it has been going on ever since. And really, WOW's kids have been very good partners as far as the pediatric oncology unit is concerned in terms of support. They've been providing transportations for our patients to and from the hospital, and this allows for regular and timely follow-up and prevents delay in chemotherapy administration, which is very, very important. So we're very grateful to WOW's Kids Fiji for that. Apart from that, Louise, one of the things that they also help with is paying for tests that cannot be done in CWM, which needs to be done in private hospitals, and also procuring medications that sometimes run out in our local pharmacy, that is CWM and Lautoka Hospital, so to speak.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Save. I mean, it just shows how you need organizations like this to support these children suffering with cancer. I mean, I couldn't even begin to imagine the pain and the hardship of it. But how many children have been diagnosed with cancer so far this year, or say for the past 3 to 4 years, maybe?
Annually, in the whole of Fiji, we diagnose about 20 to 30 childhood cancers a year. These are various types of cancers, the most common of which is leukemia, specifically acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
And that's one of the worst, is it?
It's actually the most common cancer that we can treat here in Fiji.
So if you catch it early, there's a good chance of survival?
That's the main important thing, Louise. So for cancer, early detection always equals successful treatment.
Oh, that's nice to know. So what is the cure rate of children living with cancer in the country like?
The cure rate, Louise, has really improved, according to a research done last year by one of the pediatricians at CWM, who was doing her master's research. And from that, since 2017, the cure rate has really improved.
Oh, that's good to hear. So just a little bit of a personal question. What is it like for you as a doctor informing the parents of the child that their child has cancer? Must be very difficult.
That's true, Louise. It's never always easy to tell a parent that their child is sick, so to say. And for a condition such as cancer, which people usually associate with death, is really never always difficult to tell a parent. So for us at the pediatric unit, I mean here in CWM and Lautoka, before I continue on, I'd like to just clarify, there are only 2 pediatric oncology units available in the whole of Fiji, and that's CWM and Lautoka Hospital. Yes, so what we do is we have to set out a date and a time, because we want to involve the whole family, everyone that's related to the care of the child, to be seated there, and we then sit and do a family conference, which involves discussions of what the child has, how did we come to the diagnosis, and what are the treatment involved, and how long the treatment will be.
I see. All right. So what are the early signs of a child who may, what are the early signs a child may experience if he or she may have cancer?
So for the viewers listening in, if probably in posters and pamphlets around, there are lists of signs and symptoms that have been distributed out by WOW's Kids Fiji. And these signs and symptoms are all pertaining to different types of cancer, various types of cancer. And these symptoms and signs include headache, persistent weight loss, probably for a long period of time. Maybe the kid will be, or the mom or the dad will notice that the child's clothes is becoming more loose every time. Easy bruising or easy rashes that develop around the skin. Also persistent headache with associated vomiting and blurry vision. These are all signs. Increased and severe bone pain. These are all signs that pertain to certain types of cancer. These signs and symptoms are usually very non-specific. They may also be associated with other conditions. And these signs and symptoms are listed under the mnemonic child cancer. And under this mnemonic are listed all these signs and symptoms. So any parent that has a child with any of these signs and symptoms should present to the nearest health facility to be seen by a medical professional. As I've said before, it may mimic other diseases, so only a health professional would be able to delineate between the two. And further refer those children if they do think that the symptoms are highly suspicious of a malignancy or a cancer.
So the diagnosis is really important. I mean, it will be peace of mind as well for the parents. It could be something else, it could be cancer as well. On Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back. We'll be back soon. We're back on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisela, and our guest, Dr. Savesen Duandua, who's been kind enough to come and explain everything about children's cancer. He's from the Pediatric Department Oncology Unit of the CWM. So now we go on to our next question. Doctor, what are the children's treatment options like, and for how long?
Well, different types of cancers have different protocols. We're very fortunate here in Fiji in terms of childhood cancer treatment that we have guidelines that have been set out by our partners at the National Cancer Center Network, or the NCCN. They've set out clinical guidelines for different types of cancers and protocols that we follow. And different cancers have different treatment duration. The longest, I would say, would be the treatment for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which goes on for a duration of 2 years. And here in Fiji, in terms of treatment, we're able to treat acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is the most common cancer in children, and it's a blood cancer. The other subtype of leukemia, which is acute promyelocytic leukemia, is also treatable here in Fiji, and that too goes on for a period of 2 years. And then there are other tumors, such as kidney tumors known as Wilms tumor, retinoblastoma, or cancer of the eye, that we also could treat locally.
Okay, thank you for that. You're really good at all those names. So what is the goal of each treatment, doctor? Is it to eliminate the cancer, help the child feel better, or both?
Well, it depends on the type of cancer again, Louise. Cancers that we can treat locally, like acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or those kidney cancers and eye cancers that I've mentioned before, the goal of treatment is to completely remove the cancer with the treatment protocol that we have in place. But there are certain cancers that we might not be able to treat. And those ones have to go through a different form of treatment, which is more of supportive treatment. It's called palliative care. It's just to ease the transition of the child's treatment up till the ultimate outcome, which is death.
Okay, so you keep them as comfortable
as possible. That's correct.
Pain-free.
Pain-free, and in those instances as well, we involve family and involve counseling centers to help with the transition, not only for the child, but the other family members as well.
Yeah. So, what are the possible side effects of each treatment, both in the short and in the long term?
In terms of treatment side effect, um, one of the main issues with chemotherapy, although it has a good, although it is good in the sense that it treats the cancer, one of the side effects that we experience, and most common side effects, is the fact that it can drop cell lines, meaning it can reduce your hemoglobin level, making the child more anemic. So in these instances, the child will not feel well, will feel nauseous, and so we will have to give transfusions for that. One of the other things that it could do is it can weaken the immune system. And the immune system, one of its main purposes is to protect us against infection.
Right.
So these kids are vulnerable to infection. If you go to the oncology unit, they're not placed with the other children in the general wards. They have separate unit on their own, and they're usually in isolation, mainly because of one of the side effects of infection in terms of receiving chemotherapy. So
I
they have
see.
to be away from the general wards.
Yes,
because
they
they
could
could easily
catch
catch
something from
those
someone
diseases.
else.
That's correct.
Okay.
And in terms of in the long term, one of the long term side effect probably would be there's still a chance that their cancer may relapse, which means that it can come back.
Yes, yes.
So if
I
that does
believe
happen,
so.
then we will have to go into discussions again on whether this still can be treated or they will have to resort to palliative care.
Okay, so as a doctor, again, I want to ask a personal question again. How do you cope with a child suffering from cancer? I mean, how do you cope? Because I definitely couldn't.
It's never always easy, Louise. I mean, children who has a future ahead of them, who
Yeah.
are just growing up, has a lot of things to do in life, and then they develop such conditions such as cancer. Well, for me personally, one of the things that I try and cling on to are the positive things.
Yeah.
The fact that, giving this medication, administering this chemotherapy at the end will result in remission or cure, and the
Yeah.
child could live their normal life
Yeah,
like everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfectly good answer. I mean, it brings meaning to you as a doctor, I
Yeah.
believe, treating a
Yes.
child with cancer, because you're doing your best and you're, keeping them pain-free as long as possible. But thank you very much for sharing that with us. And what about parents? Do they accept the fact bravely after maybe losing a child to cancer and understand that your team did their best? Or are there some who scream at you and accuse you of maybe killing their child? I mean, it's a very emotional moment.
Well, to be honest, Louise, I've never come across any parent being adverse and trying to
Put the blame on you or something.
doing all those
that's
things.
good
But
then.
one of the things, again, it goes to proper family counseling. If you have come across probably someone who's going through treatment and they probably relapse or their cancers come back, or someone whose cancer we cannot treat, we will have to then sit with the parents again. And I find that if the parents are told honestly about the diagnosis and
Yes.
that the treatment will not be available in Fiji. If you're honest with the parents, usually they're quite receptive to that. That's one thing I find.
Okay, so that's really good. I mean, I'd like to ask you more questions, but unfortunately, we'll have come to the end of this segment. But just very quickly, we need to finish off with this question. Why do you think people should support WOW's Kids Fiji and take part in their fundraising events?
As I've mentioned before, Louise, WOW's Kids Fiji has been a very good partner in terms of pediatric oncology care and this fight against childhood cancer.
Yes.
They have always, in their capacity as an NGO, they've always provided financial assistance for our families in terms of transportations and ensuring that our children come to the hospital on time and receive medications to prevent chemotherapy delay, which is very important in terms of treatment of cancer, and also helping us or helping our parents pay for tests and medications that are usually not available in the local hospital or laboratories that need to be done in the private centers or private hospitals.
Okay, so this is really important. Thank you very much. So people should really continue to support WOWS Fiji, whatever
Definitely.
fundraising events they have. And I mean, that's the side of how they help. But then we also have the side of the child,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, help the poor child.
Yeah, and also they have activities lined up to, just help the parents and their families as they go through the cancer journey until their treatment ends. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much,
You're welcome,
Doctor,
Louise.
for coming to Speak Your
Thank you
Mind.
very much for having
And
me.
we'll just move on now to our next guest. Thank you indeed. And on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisela, and it is now time to chat with our second guest. And I thank you so much for making the time to be here. I mean, for a very good cause. And we have the president of the WOWS Kids Fiji Parent Support Group and volunteer, Emily Wesley. Welcome to Speak Your Mind.
Bolavenak Louise, thank you for having me today.
That's
Such a pleasure being here today.
lovely. Now, can you please tell us about the WOWS Kids Fiji? Just a little bit.
WOWS Kids Fiji, it's an NGO, and they look after children battling cancer from birth to 18 years old.
Okay.
And whatever support the hospital can do, that's where they step in. WOWS Kids Fiji.
Excellent. I mean, even what Dr. Sabe was
Have
saying, he
mentioned.
really appreciates the work that WOWS Fiji does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need to get as many people on board to support this worthy cause. I mean, children, for goodness sake. So, how do you use the funds donated to WOWS Fiji?
Um,
Well, you
The fu-
probably be repeating what Doctor said, but you can go more in depth, I'm sure.
Mostly the funds goes towards the transportation of our kids from their various homes to the hospitals and back. And in terms of medication, if they are not available in our local hospital, that's where the funds goes. And if there are extra tests that needs to be done that is not available to at CWM, we usually get it done at MIOT. We have an account there.
Okay.
That's where they always get our tests done, and medication, and weekly shopping vouchers, recharge cards if they are admitted. And they also do monthly visits to all our children.
Man, that is so nice. I mean, I went onto the WOWS Fiji website and I was watching one of your clips. Then I saw there was a 15-year-old young man who had been diagnosed with cancer. And I also saw a woman who came all the way from a village, and she said she just had her taxi fare and she arrived into Suva. So, I mean, that's why we need to have organizations like you to help people like this. So she brought her daughter all the way, and the daughter had cancer. And, that's how she struggled all the way from an outer island to bring her daughter to the CWM. And all she had with her was her taxi fare from the wharf to the hospital.
Oh, and they came all the way from Koro.
Oh, okay, you know who I'm talking about. I know, man. I mean, I just couldn't help myself, but, I started crying just watching that. It is really hard for me. But, I mean, that's an example why WOWS Fiji should be supported for, cases like this. So how many children does WOWS Fiji look after in the country?
At the moment, we have 64 children.
That's a lot.
That's from Viti-Levu, Vanua-Levu, and across the Pacific.
Wow. Okay, across the Pacific
we
as
have
well.
64 children to
Support.
look after,
Yeah.
to support.
Okay, that's quite a good number. So how does WOWS Fiji raise funds, and how often?
Mainly, our main fundraising month is August, and it's this is also our Cancer Awareness Month, and we have cans distributed to our corporate partners, and whoever wants a can, you can come to WOW's Kids Fiji Resource Center
Okay.
at Rail Street. Come and pick a can, and we have our merchandise. We're selling our merchandise, our gold ribbon,
Yeah,
like
the one that you
Liz
just
wear.
provided me. Thank you so much.
We have those gold ribbons, the handbands.
So how much do you sell
We're
one
selling
of these?
it for $5.
Oh, well, that's good.
We have our handbands, our
You sell
badges,
as
and
well.
T-shirts.
Okay, so this is all the merchandise that you sell to raise funds.
And
That's one way of raising funds. Okay.
And our main fundraiser was this ball. We always have this ball every year. It's our main fundraising, but due to this pandemic, we were not able to have this ball, so we have this walk. It's a WOW's Great Walk Challenge. You can register as an individual or as a group of 5.
Okay.
If you register as an individual, the minimum you can raise is $100 or $500 for a group of 5. It will go on from now till December.
Oh, okay.
Once you register, you have 14 days to walk 50 kilometers. Some of our family members and friends, they have registered. They've done their 50 kilometers. They deposit the money. Now they are going on to their next 50 kilometers walk.
Man, how nice. So,
And
you
we're
know,
so
we really
glad.
do have wonderful people in the community,
And we are
don't
so
we?
glad that we have such amazing people in Fiji who are very supportive and very helpful.
True. I mean, exactly. Yeah? I mean, they walk 50 kilometers and they don't think twice about walking it again.
Walking it again.
And they raise the funds and they feel really happy about it. Yeah? Because there's
For a good
something
cause.
for a good cause. In life, you know, sometimes when you do things like this, it gives you this satisfaction that I don't think anything could make you feel. When you help someone and not expect something back.
Something back, eh?
True. I mean, it's just got a different feeling altogether. A feeling from deep down inside that you feel happy, yeah?
You've done something good for...
Yeah. I mean, without expecting something back, that's the main thing, eh? And then, I mean, even for WOW's Fiji, helping children suffering with cancer, I mean, geez, I think that should be the top of anybody's, wanting to support a good cause, eh? Okay, so you have the walks, which carries on until December.
We have these cans that are distributed around. If you want one, you can come and get it.
Okay,
And,
so they come, where's your office again?
At Rail Street.
Oh, okay. So they
opposite that Gospel High School bus stop. It's just right opposite that bus stop.
Okay. So that's the location. So if someone wants the cans,
They can just walk in and come in.
So how much are the cans?
You'll just take the can, fill it up, and bring it back to us.
I'm thinking,
how it
I'm
goes.
thinking can of something. You know, I'm not thinking the can for the donation.
Donation. We have those donation cans.
Oh, that is really good. I mean, if someone could just take it and have their own special event to put money in the can.
Like I think for UNDP or WHO, they did a bake sale,
Oh, okay.
and that's how they managed to fill their can.
Ah, so how big is the can?
It's not very big.
Okay. All right, but we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We're your only classic hit station in the country. Thank you for your good company. We'll be back soon. We're back on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisela, and our guest today is the president of the WOW's Fiji, WOW's Kids Fiji, and you are the parent group, right? So, I mean, it's really good talking to you, but there is something. What went, I believe that your daughter had to go through these challenging moments of being diagnosed with cancer. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so how long ago was that?
She was diagnosed back in 2000
2009.
2014.
Okay.
She was still in kindy. She was still
Oh.
in kindy when she was diagnosed with
And
low blood platelets.
I see. Okay, so I mean, at least it would have been early, so there's a good chance.
It was early detection.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and we managed to.
Yeah, and she's a lovely girl. I've met her. She's going to come in later with Peter. But what is her name again? My
She's Marathon Wesley.
Marathon. I'll have to write that down. Marathon. It's a very unique name. But I noticed when I asked you about, having to go through that experience, your expression changed straight away. Because, and obviously, I mean, not only you, but all the many parents who have had to go through this, it's obviously a very painful time. It must be so difficult and to be a parent of a child. I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like. So how did you deal with the emotional and physical stress of taking care of your child at that time?
At first, when we were told about her condition, it was something new to us. But we are glad that we have these nurses and doctors who are very supportive. It was Nurse Maroni. She left for Dubai, I think last week.
Right.
She was there all along in the beginning, and she was very reassurance. We are glad that we managed to deal with the stress by reading books, just getting to know more about the sickness.
Right.
The more we know about the sickness, the better it was for us to deal with our stress and emotions.
Okay.
It was hard at first, but once we get to know about the sickness, the more we get to know about the sickness, it was a bit easy for us to deal with it.
Okay.
And it was through the reassurance from the nurses and the doctors at PEDS Oncology Unit that we were able to get through this very tough situation we were going through, the emotional part.
Yes, I can imagine.
It was not easy, but we are thankful that we have the supporters from the other parents, the doctors and nurses, and our family members who was just calling and praying for us over the phone.
Right.
We were like very reassured that we also have some people behind us who are always there to fight with us and go through this tough journey with us.
Yes, you have to be strong. I mean, there's no other choice. But what went through your mind when the doctor revealed that diagnosis to you at that moment?
At first, the first thing that came to my mind was death, because I was shocked and I didn't know what was wrong with her. It started off with a tooth extraction. We went to the dentist to get her tooth extracted, and it couldn't stop bleeding.
Okay.
So we were referred to CWM for extra blood test. After 2 weeks, then we were called in again, and that's when they had to reveal the news to us about our daughter's condition. It was hard at first, but
I'm sure you would have been in a bit of a shock, maybe denial.
In denial.
Yeah, that probably pops up as well.
I was trying to live in denial, especially when it comes to dealing with our family members. But I just have to be strong for my daughter.
Exactly. That's the thing.
We just have to be strong. Myself and my husband.
Yes.
Just for the sake of our daughter.
Oh, that's really good. I mean, I believe the children, the children who have been diagnosed, they are actually really strong.
They are strong kids.
It's amazing,
The amount of needles they had to go through every day.
I know.
That's why we have this gold ribbon as our. We have this gold ribbon because gold is a precious metal, just like our children. They are our precious treasure.
True.
Gold has to go through this through fire and just to get this gold out.
Yeah,
you know.
That's true.
That's the same process our children goes through in order to come out
triumphant. And, they have to keep fighting. Eh?
True.
I mean, like you said, the amount of needles, and it must be, I know that the children are really strong. They're probably much stronger than me. If I had something like that, I'd probably be crying every minute, man. True, it's quite amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. So now it's good that your child is on the clear, and I just met her. She's a wonderful child, full of life and
Very
beautiful.
talkative.
I know that she came in, the first person she wanted to meet was Pauline of Today FM.
And you just made her day.
Yeah, and I snuck around. I'm looking for Pauline everywhere. Pauline, come here, I got someone for you to meet. And I didn't really expect that reaction. But I'm so happy that she was so pleased. But I really do thank you for sharing your experience with us. And we have actually come to the end of the second and third segment that I'm interviewing. We need to get Peter in after this. But just something just for you to tell the public why they should support WOWS Fiji and how.
Thank you. I'm challenging all of you, especially our corporate partners and business house, to come in and support this worthy cause. It's something good to support this organization because they are doing a very good job in trying to help our children battling this sickness in so many ways, in so many good ways. And these children, they also need your support. They also need your support. And this journey is not an easy journey, but it is through your love and your support that we are able to continue with this fight.
Yes, Vinaka Vakalevu. So that is, of course, the president of WOWS Kids Fiji Parent Support Group and volunteer, Emily Wesley. Thank you so much for coming to speak your mind. Vinaka.
Vinaka.
Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits, and we're up to our last segment. And I have as our guest, I will introduce first Marithan. You're Emily's daughter, right?
Yes.
And you are such a cheerful child. Can you just just swing the mic towards her? Okay, so you were really happy to meet Pauline of Today FM, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was so happy to see how excited you were. So it's always a pleasure for children to come in and meet the person that they... So how did you know Pauline?
Well, it's a very complicated story. I
Yeah?
met her actually on TikTok.
Okay. I know. My grandchildren love her on TikTok as well. But thank you for coming in and sitting with us for this time. So we better swing the mic back to Peter. And of course, you are our third guest. And Peter is a research officer in regional outreach for Samisoni Enterprises. A warm welcome, Peter Wanga Vonovono. Welcome to Speak Your Mind.
Oh, thank you, Louise.
Okay, so I believe you're going to shave your head to raise money for WOWS Kids Fiji.
Yes, actually, we're giving an option to people that actually want to save my head from being shaved or, get it shaved in the Walk On Walk Strong Kids Fiji SOS campaign. And it's an event that's happened over the years. And we've come to believe that it's an effective platform for persons who people actually follow, for them to also support and maybe throw in a few cash and see whether the person's head will actually get shaved or not.
So that's how it works.
But at the end of the day, it's all for a good cause.
Yes.
And it's great that I'm part of a few other champions that are actually participating in this program.
Okay, so you are one, and how much do you plan to raise? It can just go over, to anything, unlimited,
yes. For myself, I just placed my target at $1,000.
Oh,
and,
I see.
I've already seen that according to the pledges that I've received, I've gone way beyond that. In fact, just within an hour of actually announcing announcing my pledge, we had already gone beyond that 1,000, and it looks like we'll get more. The only
Lovely.
reason I believe that young people, well, not young people, but a lot of businesses and persons actually doing this is actually because they believe in the work that WOWS is doing in Fiji. And just like myself, we all want to help. We know that a lot of families are not doing so well during these COVID seasons.
Yeah, it'll be even worse now. I mean,
And
yes.
and currently there's about 60 to 70 kids that that depend on WOWS to help them. And I mean, that number will only grow as more families, begin to face layoffs and that sort of stuff. And it's important to have organizations such as WOWS that's ready to help our children who are battling cancer. You know what, Louis? For me, I've got a personal story. If I could just put my leg into this conversation.
Sure.
My mother passed away from cancer more than a year ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ever since she passed away, I never touched my head.
Oh,
And so I'm paying tribute to her legacy and her memory
Yeah.
by getting my hair chopped off, and also doing this fundraising for her. I actually understand what families go through. My mom went through, well, she battled with cancer for more than 15 years.
Oh, it's a
And
long
she had
time. She must be
various
strong.
and she had various forms of cancer, and various times we had to rush her back to the hospital. She had relapses and all of that sort of stuff. So
That's
I fully
difficult.
understand the struggles that families have to go through when it comes to cancer. People think cancer is all about losing your hair. What you don't realize is cancer is more than that. It's about affordable health care. It's about getting the right transport. When the patient or when the child returns from treatment, from their biopsy, from chemotherapy, a lot of things has to change within the family context and the household, the budgets and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, in saying that,
Yeah.
after losing my mother, I've come to realize that, in order to pay tribute to her memory, I need to, continue to support the work that she used to support also. And, following the work of Taikami, the Kami family here in Fiji, and also Walk on Walk Strong, Kids Fiji, the
Yes.
stuff that they've been doing in Fiji, and listening to all of these powerful stories
Yes.
has actually helped me, really step forward and just bring in as many people as I can to actually sponsor myself getting a haircut.
Yes, please, you have to support Peter.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is so meaningful. I mean, for your mom, in memory of your mom, you haven't cut your hair since she died more than a year ago, and you are willing to do this. And such a good cause that you're supporting, WOWS Fiji, and I must thank you for that, Peter. And our little champ here. Ooh, what different color T-shirts do you have? You have a green, do you have other colors as well?
We have orange, blue, purple,
Orange, blue, purple.
yellow,
Oh my
and
gosh.
black.
Isn't she such a happy child? Yeah, you amaze me. I mean, do you remember the battles that you had many years ago?
Yeah,
You remember it?
in my family it was very difficult through my battles, and also every month or every year I would also go to the doctor.
Yes.
And because after that, sometimes it'll be hard for me, my mom, my dad, through the battles. But then I had my brother along my side. He has always supported me. My little brother is in class 1.
Oh, that's lovely. You are really a champ, my dear. And I mean, you got such a smiley face, You just make me a happy person when I'm always complaining. Thank you for sharing it with us. I mean, geez, isn't she so strong, Peter?
She's very strong,
Yes.
yeah.
Anyway, we'll take the mic back to you, Peter. And just lastly, the last question that I always end up with is, why do you think the general public should get involved with the fundraising events of WOWS Fiji? Like you are having one now, and maybe you want to just give some more information on what people can do.
There are various campaigns that are currently happening throughout the country when it comes to when I talk about these campaigns, I'm talking about what WOWS is doing in Fiji and across the Pacific. And like, to be honest with you, the only thing I can say is that, when it comes to cancer, when it comes to a family's budget during this period, every cent counts and every cent matters. So if you have whatever you can give, please feel free to give that money. It doesn't have to be for the SOS campaign to cut my hair. It can also be for, they've got the 50-kilometer walk challenge that's happening. They've also got the Sangamoli challenge. If you walk into any hot bread kitchen, I work for Hot Bread Kitchen, by the way, through Samsoni Enterprises. If you walk into any hot bread kitchen, we actually encourage our customers to participate in the Sangamoli challenge.
Okay.
And in saying that, I also like to just give an open challenge to every person that works here at Fiji Broadcasting Corporation. If you'd also like to participate in this campaign, please feel free to tag along. If you'd also like to sponsor my haircut, please feel free to sponsor that haircut. But
So they
I'd like
can-
to encourage people that work here at the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation to select some of your stuff to also join me in getting our hair all done, done up or chopped off or shaved.
Yes, Vinaka Vakalevu. So if they want to know more information, do they just go to WOWS Fiji website or something?
You
Or
just have
call
to come.
WOWS Fiji?
You just have to call up the WOWS Fiji, Kids Fiji office. We're there in the directory. Also, I'll provide the contact details to you, so it can also be on television. But most importantly, there's a Facebook page. They've got
Oh,
a
okay.
strong social media platform
Okay.
that's available, and yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. And be sure to drop in that Sangamoli at any hot bread kitchen.
Any hot bread kitchen.
It's there. It's just the
It's there, right? As soon
Oh
as you
my
enter, it's
gosh.
just sitting right in front of you in a tin. A tin.
Okay.
A tin. Yeah.
Okay, tin or can, whatever. But anyway, thank you so much, Peter. Good luck. I hope you raise a lot of money for our children and can just swing the mic to this beautiful young lady here. Thank you so much, my dear, for coming to speak your mind as well and sharing with us your story.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's it from me on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. Until next week, Nisa Modemanda, and be sure to support such a good cause, I will say, WOWS Kids Fiji. Vinaka.